Good morning, welcome to a morning review on Monday the 13th of April. This is Kim Watson speaking for Easy Trader. Okay, we're starting off with the euro dollar today, and as you can see, we've seen relatively small movement through the Asian session. At the moment it's consolidating on the 4-hourly perspective. Friday ended up as yet another down day. It looks with this trend going on that we could well be looking at some time of a breakdown towards the 1.05 area and maybe even lower back to the prior lows. Now we do have some upside targets potentially at some point this week. The weekly pivots are frequently hit and they're sitting there at 1.0734, so any upward side eventually I'll be looking for those to be hit, but they're not a guaranteed hit, so it's just to have those in the back of the mind. At the moment I'm really on the euro. I'm looking for a break of this sort of bottom trend line here, slightly rising trend line. If it starts breaking below that, then I'm going to be looking on the short side, as I say, looking then back down, initially down to the S1 there to 1.0550, and then 1.05, and the lows effectively would be the sort of three targets I'd have there for today at least. Okay, so that's the euro dollar. There's no significant news out today as I'm flicking between charts here, so China's reported quite a bit of news throughout the Asian session, which has already caused some volatility in the Aussie dollar, which I'll come on to in a moment, along with what's been said by the Treasurer, Hockey. Okay, anyway, but let's have a look at the pound dollar first. And we were sitting in this sort of range here. We've already taken a break through the Asian session of this sort of support range, which suggests it's pretty weak. We see how we sort of close up on this 4-hourly bar. If we can close up where we are, maybe it's there's a bit of divergence going on when you look at the 4-hourlies here, but the thing with divergences on these timescales, it can carry on diverging for a long time. Here we've got little in the way of continual support sitting, so it could easily, if it starts breaking these areas, just keep on running down. In fact, the next level of decent support I've got here is quite a way below us. If I've drawn it on here, I haven't drawn it on this chart, but it's quite a way below us. I seem to remember. I think it's around about there's certainly the round number of 1.44 would be an important number there. Looking at the 60-minute chart here, and it's just touched its daily pivot, rolled over already down to its S1 level. Now, depending how these markets run this morning, as I said, with the euro, I was looking for the short side. I would like to see it. I'll just trade this on the short side if the opportunity arises. But I just need to get it set up to get short, maybe a little bit more of a retracement, which I'll have to have a look at the shorter time frames, but would look for those. And then, as I say, I'll be really looking. It's already broken the Friday's lows there. I'll just be looking now, maybe down towards the S1 or 145 area, 145.10, 145 would be the sort of areas I'd be looking for in terms of target wise. Okay, if we did see a move to the upside and start seeing a bit of buying coming through, I really need to see it break in this trend line here before I could be on the before I'd really want to be on the long side of things. And then it starts running as ever. When it's been sitting in a downward trend here, you're going to be running into resistance levels quite frequently there. So it makes for difficult trading to the upside, but there is, as I say, there is the possibility it could come to the upside, the push up to the upside with the weekly pivot up there at 147.29. Okay, that's the pound. Looking at dollar yen. So dollar yen, it's been putting consistently higher lows in on the 4-hourlies here, on the dailies. Recently we've been putting higher lows in, pushing up there. Really, if it breaks the upper trend that is set now, I'd take the steeper angle here. Let's just pop this on here. Breaks this level, I'd be looking on the long side to continue and see if we can then push back towards those areas of 120, 150, somewhere in that sort of region would be a reasonable target, where we saw the supply coming in, the selling coming in on last occasion around that sort of level up to that 122 area. To the downside, well, there is again another trend line that's sort of running quite steeply the opposite way there, and I would, because it's running against trend, I need to see that broken really, and then we've got the weekly pivot below us there to 119.90, which is not too far. Once you break through that, I'd need a decent setup to be looking for that. But if it does break, that's the sort of way that's the sort of areas I'm looking for on the dollar yen. Okay, and finally, let's finish off with the Aussie dollar. Well, the Aussie dollar took a kick in through the Asian session. As you can see, it's now sold off. It's given back all it took to gain over 3 days last week. Well, Friday it weakened, but today it's given back all those gains and come back to this area where we seem to get quite a bit of support around this area in the past. It's getting close though to that one, that figure of 0.75, which is obviously lower down from where we are now. But excuse me, it could run down there. But as I said, there's often demand around this area. So we've been seeing buying every time it gets down to it. It may pip through it a little bit, but there is that region down there where it may yet again provide us with some strength. If it doesn't, then as I say, the target's quite easy at 175.50, and then we'll possibly all the way down to 75, all the way down that way. Okay, looking at 60-minute chart then, and well, it's not really going to give you too much difference here. It's possibly there's a possible sell areas into the prior lows up over here. If it pushes up better even further back into its S1, it hasn't hit the daily pivot. I think it'll have a problem doing that, as it's so far away from this now, and it is looking particularly weak. So as I say, if there's a decent short position available, maybe even back into the hourly 8 moving average there, maybe as long as that ties in with other factors, that might provide me the short side, but I'd prefer to sit on the short side of the Aussie dollar at the moment. Okay, that's it for me. I hope you have a great day. As I say, there's no significant news out today effectively now. Right the way through the day, it's very little light in terms of numbers coming out, so it's right down to technicals. Have a great one. Bye for now.